Welcome to another episode of a Guide Live podcast, Unleashing the Future of Work, live with the CEO of Guide, Tim Salau, Mr. Future of Work. I am excited because today I'm talking to a rock star, superstar, founder, and executive, Mr. Darrell Silver, who is the CEO and co-founder of Thinkful. And today, man, we are going to be diving deep on a few awesome things, man. Whether it be the future of work, Thinkful's recent acquisition by Chegg, what his experience was like as a founder, building one of the top education tech companies in the world and future work companies in the world, as well as what has he been learning throughout COVID-19 in terms of leadership and how it can apply to anyone who's currently leading through a pandemic or a crisis. And he's actually going to be tuning in and chiming in with us from, you guessed it, NY, I think. So I'll go ahead and bring him on and we'll check and see how he's doing. Hey, Darrell.
Hey, how's it going? New York, indeed. Lower
Oh, wow. You're in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, so how are you doing, man? How have you been holding up during this pandemic, man?
I'm doing well. We're doing well. We stayed home. We stayed in our apartment in New York City in Lower Manhattan. We're of all the people affected worldwide and around the city and around the country now, we are not the ones to be thinking about. So now we're doing fine.
Dude, so happy to hear that. Man, I would love for you to share with us and our amazing guide community. Tell us a little bit about what inspired Thinkful, in the early days, because you guys have been around for quite some time.
Yeah, we started Thinkful October 1st, 2012. The first insight, like the very first thing, was that you couldn't learn the way that my co-founder and I had always learned. We had learned through being an intern, being around people that were smarter, asking stupid questions, listening and interacting and getting feedback on everything we were thinking and doing. And what we found at that moment was that people thought videos were going to replace college. So what is now just like known in the industry as MOOC, and what is now known as like more commonly known as Coursera, Udacity, like people thought that was going to just replace college. We said that's more like a textbook. How do we make the rare experience that we had learning through apprenticeship, how do we make that available to everybody? And so we set off on this idea that turned into Thinkful back in October 2012.
Yeah, and I think what's so amazing about what you all did too is that you all effectively scaled it, because a lot of people don't realize the power of the apprenticeship model and how I think we're kind of returning back to that era where apprenticeships, you finding someone that not can only act as a mentor but a practitioner with you is so important in the future that we're building.
I mean, absolutely. So for us, and I think what I've learned is that all founders go through this journey is that every scale point was very, very difficult and involved basically saying to yourself, okay, what got us here is not going to get us to the next phase. I think people have this vision that or this outside view that software just scales and all you have to do is buy bigger computers or something. And it's not like how it works. It wasn't true at my first company. It wasn't true at Thinkful. Isn't true today at Chegg.
Yeah. So, after building, because you're an entrepreneur. After building your first company, man, what inspired you to say, okay, I'm going to go out and do it again? And what were some learnings that you had, building perpetually in the past that kind of actually informed how you built Thinkful, man?
Well, look, there's something very important that you have to know about me, which is that it took me a long time. I apparently love pain. I just love the pain and uncertainty and really pushing yourself, like throwing yourself into the deep end or being thrown into the deep end or throwing others into the deep end of whatever the challenge is to make some big change. So the first factor for me was I am basically lucky enough to be able to take big risks. One of the things you learn at Thinkful, we serve students all over the country. We serve students from many different backgrounds. You learn very quickly that the opportunity to take risk is rare and should be cherished. And so the first thing for me was I had that option. And then the second thing was I just love pain of it. So I love the ambiguity of not knowing what was going to happen, but knowing that if we made the right hire, if I picked the right partner, if I put in enough hours, that we had a good shot and we could get lucky. And so over the course of now over a decade, you get lucky a little more than you get unlucky, and it works out.
Yeah, no, that's powerful, man. So you really were operating off of a decade of information and data and pain that actually informed, how you were thinking about building the company.
Yeah, no, I left my first career in 2008. not knowing what to do, but knowing that I loved technology and knowing I wanted to start something. And in hindsight, you can always find those patterns of like I was selling photos to parents of their in high school of their kids playing sports, that kind of thing. I was doing lots of theater photography. I was like starting a business in the summer. I've been working part-time since I was 14. Like all these things that people do when they have like an insane I don't know, addiction.
ADHD, right?
Right, exactly. But you sort of do that stuff and you learn about what you enjoy, and that drove me in the early days. And now I get driven a lot more by seeing the opportunity ahead and seeing the very position that I come to it from, and wanting to marry those two together.
Yeah. We have a lot of entrepreneurs within our guide community and totally tuning in and listening right now. What are the 3 tips you would have for them if they want to build something, especially during what we're currently facing as a downturn and recession?
Yeah. 3 tips. Well, the first one is absolutely that perseverance basically always wins. So you have to stick to it through all the times that are hard. And if you're succeeding, there are a lot of times that are hard. And if you're failing, the times that are hard are short, frankly. So you have to persevere. To grow is to change, and to succeed is to change often. That phrase, I didn't make it up, but that phrase going back 100 years, that's powerful truth, which is that you have to persevere. Number 2 is I graduated from college in a recession. I left my first career not knowing, but it turned out to be the Great Recession. And those moments are big moments for reinvention. The pandemic today has thrown entire sectors of the economy into the air. We don't know when airlines are coming back. We don't know when cruises are coming back. Hotels, when are they coming back? When is travel and tourism coming back? When is home ownership and leaving of a, speaking of living in Lower Manhattan, leaving of a city, and when is that going to repopulate? When are museums going to reopen? How is education going to be changed? So almost every sector of the economy is completely shifted. And that creates opportunity for entrepreneurship. Now, the 3rd tip is if you're lucky and you have the ability to take that risk, then really consider how long that luck is going to last. At Thinkful, one of the things we've learned over and over for, like I say, now going on 8 years is people graduating college, they're at that moment of the lowest amount of responsibility they're ever going to have. And every day after that, they grow in responsibility, whether it's family, whether it's mortgage, whether it's parents or kids or spouse or significant other or some other obligation they have or feel they have. Those responsibilities are least at the time of graduation from college or leaving of college, which is so common, or not going to college. So what this country tends to do is put people with that moment of highest risk tolerance. They put them with the most amount of debt. So average college student graduates with $36,000 worth of debt. That's an insane number, right?
Yep.
Median income is only so much higher than that. So graduating with that amount of debt lowers the amount of risk you can take. So if you're the 3rd thing, so it's perseverance, it's opportunity in a recession, which has been my experience twice now, heading into the 3rd and the 3rd is if you've got that room in your life for risk, cherish it and take advantage of it. Now that requires a lot of work. And if you don't have it, that's okay. What I've been saying since February is the world is on pause. If you're lucky enough not to be on pause, then take full advantage. If you're on pause also, like a lot of my friends are, and you don't have any income and you're working on your family, that's great too. Take that pause, take that breathing room, and survive. And that's perfectly fine and good, and don't feel bad about that at all. Take that as a time in a long life to rebalance and to let the world have its go at you, and you can come back stronger.
Man, dude, I love that because it takes a different type of mindset to really adapt to that, right? Seeing the opportunities within a recession or an economic downfall. But even then, you and I, we've both been looking at the stock markets, right? Like the stock market is actually not doing too bad. It's actually not going down. It's going up. But we're seeing that, the same, service workers don't have opportunities. Small to medium businesses are truly struggling. So I've actually been sharing a lot with people in my community that this is a great time for entrepreneurs who want to build or serve small to medium businesses and are looking at, okay, how do you continue to scale value for them? Especially in a climate like this. But to your point, I love that because there's so many people who are currently going through this right now. And they're like, there's no opportunity, but everything is just shifted online. So it's just a matter of identifying the right opportunities.
Yeah. And I got a lot of things to say on that. I mean, number one, One of the things I think people try to do is jump straight into starting their own business before they have any idea how to run a balance sheet or how to do some of the basics or how much it's going to cost or how to make a plan. That plan doesn't have to be for anyone but you, but they don't realize that they need to have a plan. So one of the things I find myself saying a lot is, look, if your risk tolerance is lower, or if you're just not confident enough, or you just don't have the basic skills, get a job at a place that you think can grow. Get a job where you can be around people that are smarter than you. Again, that instinct that we started Thinkful with, that we learned from people that were smarter than us. People, I don't know if you know this, but jobs will pay you to learn from people that are smarter than you if you have to work in to find those jobs. It's like the craziest. My first internship, I was 19, and I ended up in the elevator with like with the co-founder of this big fancy company, and he knew I was an intern because the whole company was only 100 people. And he said, how you liking it? How you liking your job? And I said, well, I'm learning a lot more than I do in school, and you guys are the ones paying me. And as soon as I said it, and I have this habit of doing that. As soon as I said it, I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. But it's very, very true. Like, they will pay you to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable. So if you don't have the risk tolerance for starting your own thing, if you don't have the skills for it, if you don't have the confidence for it, those are like the big three. Find somewhere that you can learn. And if it leads somewhere that you stay, great. If it leads somewhere that you leave, great. If you leave somewhere you start your own, great. And those are all really good paths. And it can be very tough in this moment because a lot of what people hear is that the world is hitting them while they're down. They're furloughed, then they're laid off.
Yeah.
Real unemployment rate is not 11.1%. It's far higher. Uncertainty and anxiety is far higher.
Yep.
They feel beaten down by the world. But you know what? It's not actually what's going on. Everyone is trying to survive. And there's opportunity everywhere you look if you work hard at finding it. You do have to, like, everyone's had to work hard at finding it.
Or creating it. If you
creating it is very hard. It's very lucky. It can take a long time, and you tend to not get paid hourly for creating opportunity. At the beginning. Stock market. Forget about stock market. Stock market's irrelevant. It's the ultimate lagging indicator.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's powerful. Let me ask you, Darrell, because you guys recently, were acquired by Chegg. What has that been experiencing like, being integrated into such an amazing platform that is Chegg and has been around for quite some time as well? What kind of inspired you to say that Chegg would be a great partner to kind of continue the journey with?
Yeah, I mean, we had a realization a year ago that the prices in our product, meaning the price of getting a new job, is just too high. It's like, it actually came down to something very simple. And look, I spent a year on this acquisition. I lost touch with the business in 2019, frankly, and we spent a long time getting the deal done and having a lot of options and all these things. But ultimately, what got us to choose Chegg is we came to a shared belief, a very deep-seated shared belief, that the prices of our education were drifting toward what I call the slow ooze toward the status quo, meaning higher education and getting a job, going to college. So we started off Thinkful did in 2012, charging about $250 a month, which is a lot of money for 3 months. And then by the time of 2019, we were at $20,000, $19,000, $22,000, depending on the course. Now you're graduating with $38,000 in debt from college. You're halfway there with some of these products in education, and those products are getting you a measurable increase in your salary. So we're only getting paid when you succeed as someone increasing your salary. But $18,000, $22,000, those are a lot. It's a lot of money. We had competitors charging $30,000, which meant that the trajectory was all getting worse. So we came to a very clear shared understanding with Chegg that prices needed to come down. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know if the model would support it. We didn't know how to keep education quality higher, but we knew that Chegg had a track record for doing that. We knew we had a shared core belief in getting it done. And here we are. Only a few months later, we've dropped some of our prices by about half.
Wow.
We provide some of the best, or if not, we provide the best terms on ISAs, which are ways of paying only after you get the job. And so we've done a pretty good job so far. We have a lot of work to do because we have to keep educational outcomes the exact same or better, even though we're dropping the price for the student. So ultimately, that's what got us to choose Chegg as a platform for the next phase of our growth.
Yeah, and I think one thing I loved about the acquisition and really the mutual alignment was the fact that you all have the same shared understanding of the future. I think there's often a lot of enterprises and big corps who don't see it, but Chegg is always looking to be innovative and is always investing. Okay, what is next? And more importantly, who are the people who are leading that? So when I actually saw that, that acquisition and partnership, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense, and you couldn't have chose the better partner, right?
Yeah, and then you got to take risks. These things you don't really know, and the path not taken is not clear. But we love the options we had in 2019, and this was a really exciting one. And we like where we're headed with Chegg, and we like lower prices, and we like more students, and we like higher placement rates, and we like going places that the market thinks is a little crazy because we know better than the average. That's our job, and when we succeed, everything will be great.
Yeah. So let me ask you, man, because there's a lot of people who currently are listening and watching right now who are passionate about the future of work, but they, a lot of people don't really often see the vision. And I think, when I see products and platforms like Thinkful, I'm like, this is the future. And more importantly, because it's positioning kids to succeed. For you all, in the next 2 to 3 years, what are some of like the high level changes that you see converging to build the future that you all are already participating in?
Yeah. So some of the stuff we can affect, some of the stuff happens to us, and we gotta navigate both. Fundamentally, if you think about why we exist to get you the better job. Yeah. People come to us to get a better, higher paying, more fulfilling career. They take the education because they know it's a means to that end. Yeah. And so under that mindset, just the exact opposite of how college thinks about it, under that mindset, we look for every opportunity to remove friction in the path from learning to earning, is the phrase we use internally. So how do we do that? So number one, we'll expand our course catalog. Number two, and we do a lot of that already. Number two, we work to lower prices. Number three, we build technology to support the student in ways that are more scalable. Now we provide a lot of one-on-one instruction, and that's not going away. But we also need to build a lot of ways. So are building a lot of technology. And then we just think about every sector, and then perhaps the biggest one, we think about every sector that hires or is going to be hiring faster than the national average, as well as based on the skill of the person applying for the job rather than any other factor. So remote work is a factor in that, certification and degrees is a factor in that, but anything that's skills-based. We think about how do you drive students to have those skills, because that's what employers are looking for.
Dude, and I think what I love about that is that you understand it's skills pay the bills.
Right. skills not degrees. Look, we acquired a company in 2018. Skills pay the bills. That's good. I was going to say we acquired a company in 2018 that had trademarked skills greater than degrees. And we might have just thrown it away because skills pay the bills. I think is better.
Dude, so really quick fire round now, man. So, our amazing community get to know you personally. Who have been the leaders that have inspired your journey as an entrepreneur and as a leader, man? It's an answer, slight cop-out answer, but my answer, I had a friend about 5 years ago, and it sometimes takes me years to realize these things have an impact. But I had a friend about 5 years ago say to me, he worked for Twitter, then he worked for Square, and so Jack Dorsey was the CEO in both places, and he was hired directly, and he's a great career. And he said, and I said, well, that's amazing. Did you learn a lot? And he goes, no, I never learned that much. I mean, in the early days I learned some, but I learned much more from the operators who were not doing press, who were not well known, who were really, really solid and reliable and innovative on the ground in the companies. And so every great company tends to have like 4 of those. And those are the people that I found inspirational as leaders, like the ones that are actually building the product instead of the ones that are putting on a show, in a sense. Yeah. And so for me, that's always inspired me a bit. Other than that, I think we're all pretty jealous of Elon Musk. I mean, like let's be honest, the scale of ambition of going to space in an electric car. It's insane. So the scale of ambition is just shocking. So I think that's pretty crazy too. But it's a bit of a cop out. Like the real answer is a cop out answer. But no, I love that, man. I love that. No, it's really crazy. So what would be 2 to 3 books or one book that you would recommend that everyone reads to be able to lead in the future of work?
2 to 3 books. The number one book I actually love is this book called The Founder, about Ray Kroc, who is considered the founder of McDonald's. Now he's not one of the McDonald brothers, but he's the one who took it from a single restaurant to the corporation and where it was and when he retired in the 70s. So it's an absolutely fantastic book, and there's a movie too. The movie is pretty faithful to the book. They're both excellent. And then so that's one. This guy was a effectively door-to-door salesman of a variety of products, and then he stumbled on the phenomenon of fast food and popularized it and created the franchise system and a variety of innovations along the way that were critical. Absolutely incredible story of perseverance, of failure, of hustle, and then success. And this, I mean, I think if I remember correctly, he was in his early 50s when he came across McDonald's. Like, this was not an early career win. So that's my number one business book, frankly. Number two, and I just read this, Bob Iger's autobiography from McDonald's is really good. From Disney. Is really good. Is excellent, especially the first half. And then the third, I just read this book, Creativity Inc., which is a spin. I read it because of the Bob Iger book about Disney. So, Creativity Inc., written by Ed Catmull, who's one of the founders or early folks at Pixar, and a phenomenal book about balancing business with creativity. Those are my three, but definitely the founder. Which again, if you want to cheat, you can just watch the movie. But the movie's good. The movie's really good. It was on Netflix last I looked.
Wow, dude, I might cheat and read the book because I think a lot of people fail to realize McDonald's is a powerhouse business, man, and more importantly, there definitely has to be a founder in place to be able to kind of like create clarity on how the business will operate beyond the founder because. I mean, he doesn't even exist anymore. That's
definitely true. And the thing about the founder of the book is that the sheer perseverance of Kroc is shocking, and it's all sorts of failures along the way. It's mostly failure and like incremental success, and then the successes last longer than the failures, and that's how you win. And so it's just failure over and over. And he sells himself. That's the other thing. He sells himself incredibly throughout the book. I mean, he calls himself the founder. He's not the founder. He franchised the name from the McDonald brothers.
Wow.
It's an incredible book for all those reasons. And he's obviously lying. I don't know anything. I don't know anybody involved. But I was like, this is probably not a true story. Like, you read some of these stories. But it's like the ability to just persevere, and then sell to get your way out of the world is very impressive. So that's my number one business book, frankly.
Dude, Darrell, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. With that said, if you all want to connect with Darrell, where can the people connect with you, brother?
Yeah. Well, I mean, number one, you got to go to thinkful.com if you're looking for a better career. thinkful.com. I'm also on all the things with the username Darrell Silver, DARRELL Silver, like the metal, Twitter and LinkedIn and all that.
Love it. Darrell, we definitely have to have you on for a future episode, man. What do you think, brother?
I'm down. There's more stories to tell. It's always really fun and always stories to tell. And then do you ever do audience participation?
Yeah. We usually, so there's actually a lot of people tuning in and joining right now, but a lot of them are shy. But yeah, we often do audience participation.
That's what we should do next time. Being shy is not a path to success. Well, fine. It's a path to some success. It's a path to whatever success you define for yourself, but it's not a path to being shy. It tends to be bad for entrepreneurship because you got to be getting people to realize that you exist. So shyness is not a good path for that. Shyness is great for the weekend, though. Oh my God, I love it.
It's true, man. It's great, man. Darrell, thank you so much, man. See you soon, my brother.
Thanks for the time. I'll talk to you later.
Well, man.
Bye, Tim.
With that said, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a guide B2B jam session live podcast. That was the awesome Darrell Silver who was tuning in, man, sharing all kinds of amazing details on Thinkful. Please check out Thinkful. I would definitely make sure that I leave a link to Thinkful in the comments. Great stuff. And make sure you check out some of the books that he recommended as well on Thinkful, and follow him on LinkedIn as well. With that said, I hope you're having a lovely Monday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love. Please, if you love this live episode, definitely check it out and share it and replay it with friends in your network, your family, your friends, your teammates, whatever it is, and show them some love. Let them know that you were blessed with amazing information today by Darrell Silver. with that said, definitely catch me later this lovely Monday. I'm going to actually be talking with another amazing guest in a few hours. All right, y'all. Peace. Talk soon.